Hey Dud, what arrow are you going with this year? That is a leading question, and I think you guys are looking at what I'm shooting and maybe getting a little confused because you're seeing the new 5.0 and you're seeing the Axis, right? Well, here's the thing. If you go back last season, all the way back to Alberta, what you'll notice is on the green arrows or the black arrows, this black line that I drew as a circle right there, or some of them had a black line right there, my Axis were actually 5.0s in disguise. We have to run R&D and prototyping, so a lot of times I give you guys Easter eggs. This wasn't an easy one to catch, but I'm probably going to be using a 5.0 for the first hunts of the year, because the first hunts are Alberta, and I got a leftover tag in Utah. I'm going to be doing a DIY out there, and so in those situations I like a little bit more speed and it's windier. So what I'm going to do, and I like more speed in Alberta because of the canola. The canola is this branchy, crazy crop, and a lot of times you have to like really thread an arrow right over the top of that to get into the vitals, or it's really hard to get a perfect range on the backs of those muleys or elk when they're in there, depending on how thick it is and if you're on your back. So I've had times where I've been a few yards off ranging. Those are all situations where more speed is gonna honestly be more favorable for me, and it's not large enough game where I have to worry about overall arrow weight. So I'm probably gonna go with the 5.0, a little bit more speed. In the past, I did that with the SonicKE. I loved that arrow when I wanted the speed, and if you're on a budget, do not overlook the SonicKE. The pre-fletched, they are in a 3-fletch. Again, it's a budget arrow, or it is for us. That is an extremely high quality arrow for the price. But if you're not worried about that and you want a little bit higher tolerances, the 5.0 is going to get you there. It's an awesome shaft. It's lighter than an Axis. So a 5.0 loaded with like 75 grain of brass instead of 50, or in my case, my 5.0s with my lighted knock and a little bit heavier insert were the same as my Axis with a lighter insert and no lighted knock. So think about that. If you're going to be worrying about the weight of adding a lighted knock in, or let's say you want to try a heavier broadhead for a different type of large game. For example, last year on my Cape Buffalo, shot a 150 grain head instead of a 100 grain head. Anyway, having that lighter arrow, you can go to a stiffer spine so that you can put that heavier weight in the front, but you're not adding overall arrow weight, because on the 5.0s the arrow weight is lighter than an Axis. So you're able to go to that stiffer spine and still be close to the same. It depends on your arrow length and how you load these babies up. But mine are going to be 75 grains of brass, 100 grain tips. I've got our wraps. Our wraps are awesome. 4-fletch with the exact configuration out of our fletching jig, about 2.25 to 2.5 degree offset, and it's a right helical. I've shot left, I've shot right. We have a left helical if that's your thing. Doesn't matter to me. I stay with the right, and I'm shooting the nocturnal lighted nocks. So I have been putting this to use for more than a year. You just didn't see it. I'm not trying to decide between the two, but just to give you one more curveball, I will tell you that I might be switching over to try a new FMJ later on in the season once I climb up in the whitetail stand. But these babies here are going to head out at the beginning of the season. If I do make a change, I'll make sure I let you guys know.